getting to a point where he was in so much pain that you mentally are just getting over that hump and just moving through it, where you're not even thinking about it.
The mindset you need is, what is your reason? What is your why for what it is you're doing?
Hey, welcome back to another epic episode.
Embers Rising. We're here. We're back after a week of being off. We went to Tahoe.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We have had a couple of weeks off. We've done a lot in the last, and we're going to dive into that. And this is such a perfect topic of going to Tahoe and then re-strategizing our training for what we're going to talk about today.
I know in my imagination while we were away, I thought we could shoot an episode maybe while we were away. I did bring the equipment, the light equipment, and no, there was too much going on, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so we went to Tahoe. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it was Wendy's 50th birthday, the big 5-0, looking gorgeous. And we like to go over there and just sort of get some water energy, some mountain energy, plus it's close to your dad's house, and we get dad to come up and get to spend some good family time, doing what we're doing. So we rented a condo in North Star, collected everybody up, brought up the bottles of wine, which you drank none of, and had an amazing time.
Tahoe is a really special place. I absolutely love the lake. I mean, the lake is so epic, whether you're in it or you're sitting at the beach watching a sunset or you're climbing a mountain looking out over it. It is absolutely incredible. I really love going to Tahoe. It is a long drive, though, for us. I mean, down there, but not too long, but it did take a while. And celebrating my birthday there for the Big 5-0 was really epic, just to be able to do the things that we did. And it was funny because we had some challenges there, but I cannot share that because in our next episode, we are going to be breaking down our Tahoe adventures to share with you all, because we found some incredible trails for y'all to go check out and some incredible places to get on the water. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Some great places to run, and some great places to paddle,
trails,
and some great places to bike.
Yeah.
And yeah, just some good sightseeing sort of stuff. So
we did that. We got back from Tahoe. But before that, Dave and I like to try to jam in as much as possible before we take these trips, but that's pretty much in every day as well. So we have been really adamant about getting our programs out. And I don't know if you remember this, Dave, but just a few days before we left for Tahoe, we shot 2 program trailers. So we shot one for our marketing media agency for consulting for Iluka Media, and then we shot one for Speak to Connect, which is the one we've been talking to you all about.
And also shot a Short Star video, which is Short Star is an advertising platform for short form video that we offer to a certain amount of people. But I got to talk about that photo shoot or video shoot, because it was crazy. You turned the entire downstairs of our house into a studio based on something you saw Gary Vee do. And I'm like, yeah, but Gary Vee didn't have to move his entire living room and stack the furniture up in a corner and whatnot. I mean, it took a good day to set that up. Camera angles, backgrounds, special lights, sound.
Gary Vee did not come up with that concept, by the way. So I did see something that Gary Vee did, and I really we were looking at studios to shoot some of these trailers. And it's a little bit hard for us because we're so many high-level masterminds, and currently we're in one with Vishen Lakiani from Mind Valley, and we see all his incredible trailers, and he's just flying over to LA, renting a studio, shooting a trailer, and it's like done. And that's the level in our mind like that we have to have for our trailer. So we were looking around our area, and there's just nothing in this town that we could make happen. If we did, we would have to like bring everything in to the studio, rent the studio time. And I'm like, if we're going to do that, we might as well just rip apart our entire living room.
Yeah, we might as well. I mean,
everything that we need for these trailers and actually shoot this the way that we're going to do. And I think it sat for a week or two,
because we were missing a piece of equipment,
and one of the pieces of equipment that we thought was the right one showed up and it wasn't. It didn't fit.
Just didn't work.
It didn't work. We had to send that back.
So I'm like, we're not breaking this whole thing down. Let's just live with it. But for a whole week, we lived basically eating dinner outdoors on our patio.
In 100-degree weather, by the way.
In 100-degree weather, yeah. And lived in the kitchen, but the entire rest of the downstairs of the house was a studio, which isn't uncommon. We've got a 4-bedroom house, and there's only 1 bedroom because the other 3 are
studios.
Our podcast studio. This is supposed to be a bedroom, ladies and gentlemen. The other master bedroom is an office studio, and then the third other bedroom is your office. Yeah. So people come over, they're like, "Oh, this is weird." I'm like, "Yeah." That's why we write the whole thing off as, business expense.
Yeah, like almost 75% of our home is used for business. No, it was really cool, and I want to share some shout outs about that because I saw some things come up when we shared some stories out there about that shoot. So that was awesome. You're all going to see those videos coming out very soon. But hey, friends, if you are new and listening to this, first of all, thank you for being here. I'm your host, Wendy J, with my incredible husband and partner, David Tucker.
I get to be a host also, not just a co-host.
He's a host. He's a co-host. He's with me in this partnership of Embers Rising podcast. We welcome you. This podcast, if you're new, is all about fueling the flame inside of you. It's why we called it Embers Rising. And we really want to bring to light all of those that are out there that are challenged with whatever they're going through, to continue to be strong and continue rising those embers like we've had inside, because it's always important to, I think, fuel your flame, keep burning brightly everything inside of you to bring it to the right place. And together we can all empower each other through these powerful stories, with tips and advice and strategies that we can try to help you all stay resilient and keep those embers glowing. So yeah, welcome to Embers Rising.
Welcome to Embers Rising. And that's why I've got my happy face on today, because I got to get in the right mode, right?
You have to get in the right mode.
This doesn't come naturally for me. I'm not a natural, let's be on camera, talk about stuff in a podcast. So I put on my happy face. Today, we've got the Stio hat on.
That's nice. Yes. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see this. We are actually moving all of our podcasts from my YouTube channel over to a dedicated YouTube channel called Embers Rising Podcast. So you'll see that very soon. And if you're watching this on YouTube, yes, you'll see David's incredible happy face shirt and his Stio hat, and you'll see us. But
I keep forgetting podcasts. Some people just listen.
Yes. But if you're listening out there, you won't see us, but that's okay. We're here. We're here in your ears.
So what is the topic today? What are we going to be talking about?
Okay, so we are going to be talking about setbacks and recovery and resilience, which ties in perfectly to what's happening out there right now with the Olympics going on. And I am so excited to talk about this because if you've been following my story and our story, David's story too, David fractured his ribs a few weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. David and I are training for our first 50K ultra trail run. And we're kind of like halfway into the training. We have half left and we've been battling these challenges like any athlete does, and you just wonder, are you even going to make it to race day,
But, so sometimes I wonder if I'm going to make it to the weekend, let alone the race day.
So before we dive into this, I do just want to get some shout outs made and also have an acknowledgement of all of those who have chosen today. The listeners out here have pushed play wherever you're at, whether you are driving to work, driving to run an errand, running out there on a trail right now, listening to Dave and I. Maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're just sitting at home, taking a break. Maybe you're washing dishes. I know a lot of people, I love listening to podcasts when I'm washing dishes or folding the laundry.
Or maybe you're on a Zoom meeting and your boss is just droning on about something.
Yes,
and you're secretly, it looks like you have headphones on and you're listening to them, but you're not.
So thank you. Thank you for pushing play to hang out with us. We really appreciate you and being part of this community that we're about ready to continue building. So anyway, shout outs. I have to kind of take a little bit of step back.
And you have them all over there. I can't see what's...
I have them here in front of me. Yes, I do.
So I'll try and make the proper facial expressions like, yes.
Okay, so the reason I shared with y'all the trailers that we shot is because some of these shout outs are from the trailer. If you probably, I don't think it's on my Instagram right now, but we did shoot those trailers and I see some shout outs. So I just wanted to mention, thank you, MJ I want to say on demand, mj.ondemand. He watched, I think, one of our set designs, and he loves the yellow accent chair. He says, I'm sold. So thank you. That's cool. I've always been there for us, mj.ondemand. Thank you so much. And then Natty_creator. Awesome. Thank you. She says home studio sounds cozy. Looking forward to what you guys come up with. And then I love amplifyu.io. She says, or he says, brilliant share. And then I did a share out on sometimes one of the ways that I like to change up our training is jump on the old school rollerblades. I know you haven't been on your blades, I don't think yet this year, Dave. Have you?
Who has time? I have not yet.
So sometimes I like to just jump on my blades and go for a cruise. And I love this channel, running_my_recovery_. Thank you. Love this. So just wanted to share that. And then I shared a post about setbacks, and really bummed out about my recent, in the last couple of weeks, my knee buckling underneath me. We had been doing every week doing a longer run, putting on a longer time on feet, getting to that 4-hour mark out there on time on feet, and my knee buckled. So I went to, get it checked out, to try to put a label on it. Is somewhere in there about quadricep tendonitis. If you're a runner, you probably have had it or you know about it. And I'm going through that at the moment. So working on healing that. And it's a little bit tough to do, right? Because you don't want to yo-yo of healing it and then re-triggering it again. So there's a little strategy play in that. But I wanted to give some shout outs for that post. Malia Kraus. Awesome. Thank you. She says, happy you have some answers now and can make a plan to heal, recover, and then get back out there doing what you do best, being resilient.
Oh, nice shout out too. And of course, we know Malia Kraus because she is the race director for the Maui Marathon.
Yes.
And also, just an incredible Ohana warrior over there on the island of Maui.
Malia is also one of my best life friends ever. So.
Oh yeah, you can shout out for your best friend.
Yeah. So thanks, Malia. Shoyeb, thank you. Shoyeb Hossein _ he says, real life experience lesson. You are great with your superpower, Wendy. So Shoyeb is also one of our team players. So thank you, Shoyeb, for piping in on this. And then we have the real Sarah Bundy. The real Sarah Bundy. I like that.
Is there an unreal Sarah Bundy?
Handle. Keep pushing forward. Your resilience shines through every setback. Thank you, the real Sarah Bundy. I appreciate that. That's nice. And then I had done a post on, this was from LinkedIn. By the way, those were from Instagram, those last ones. This is from LinkedIn. I had talked about knowing your feet for mountain marathon running. And Lee Min, I'm going to not maybe say your last name correctly, Lee Min Hong. She says, wow, congratulations for persisting and pressing on. Such an amazing accomplishment. Thank you, Lee Min. Super appreciate that. And then I have a couple of more. This is from Instagram. I had posted one about, I think just in the morning, about running and re-strategizing my training, having to do power hiking instead of running. And so I see some comments here. Our dot whereabouts says, love these tips. Consistency really is key for adventure training. Mixing up activities keeps things exciting and prevents burnout. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Puts in penalties, I think. Puts in penalties. What a cool handle name. Love the tips. Thank you. Thank you, Puts in penalty. And then again, one of my ultimate followers, amplifyu.io. You always have the best tips. I love that. And then I've got one more. I love doing signboards. I don't think I'm built for signboards. I just love doing signboards because we try to grab signboards anywhere where we travel. We always bring boards to shoot. Haven't we done that for years, Dave?
Yeah, we have, and we always find some cool locations to actually do it. The only thing is you feel a little weird because people are looking at you and they want to read the signboard and they're like, "What are you doing?"
And then you're dragging it to places like we've gone into resorts and drug in signboards. We've gone into sides of the road and people are staring at us, or we've gone under bridges where people are passing us,
or where trolls live.
and we're like trying to get the signboard shot, or on top of bridges where people are passing us. Anyway, I did a signboard that says, sometimes what didn't work out for you really worked out for you. And that was on my Instagram. And I had a couple of comments. One from Grain Free Planet says, this is such a great post. Wendy, thank you. And thank you, Grain Free Planet, because you guys are one of my incredible followers, but also
The gluten-free
grain-free baking product warriors. Yeah, these guys are amazing. If you haven't had a chance to follow Grain Free Planet, go ahead, follow, because if you are in the gluten-free world or you know someone that's gluten-free, these guys have an incredible product for baking mixes.
and I am not gluten intolerant. I don't need gluten-free, but I eat their stuff and it actually tastes good, which is the biggest endorsement of gluten-free stuff I can give.
It's not styrofoam.
Because I'm like, oh, I could eat this and not feel bad.
And then thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. So yeah, go follow Grain Free Planet. And the last one is Uprooted Traveler. I love this. Thank you for this comment, Uprooted Traveler. They say, I don't know if it's a couple or a person. It looks like a person on this handle, but this is such a good reminder. We've been facing obstacles with our business, but in a lot of ways, being forced to reassess and reprioritize is the best outcome. You know what, Uproot Traveler? Thank you for that. I'm sorry you're facing obstacles, because, oh man, we have been there and it is tough. And having to reprioritize when you're kind of in the mode and have a mindset to do the one thing, and then you have to take a step back, or maybe a step forward, but just a pause to reassess is sometimes really hard, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. And the advice that we always give ourselves, and I'll hand out to that, is, successful people do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. And just keep pushing forward, because the mistake to success ratio is skewed so heavily in favor of mistake or error or failure, however you want to, look at that it's just another bump in the road and you will overcome.
Absolutely. So listen, Uprooted Traveler, we are cheering for you 100%. We love that you guys are following us. Thank you so much. And yeah, keep your embers rising, whatever direction your journey continues to take you. So, all right, that's my shout outs. I want to get back to what we are about ready to talk about.
And I'll dip into one more piece of the recovery, right? Because right in the middle of our trip to Tahoe, and I don't want to spoil our next episode, but I managed to do something stupid.
I saw that too.
And it was, so I'm paddleboarding out in Emerald Bay. And what do I want to do? I want to scramble up on a rock that's popped out of the water. And I'm like, with trying to get off the paddleboard. And I pulled my back. And I've got this weak part of my back that this happens, but it never happens when I'm like skydiving or bombing down a hill on a mountain bike or something like that. It always happens when I do something stupid. And so how do we recover from that, right? Because we've got all these things we want to do. So my rebel energy said, let's go on a 15-mile run the next day. And maybe that wasn't my rebel energy that said that. Maybe that was you, because it was on the schedule, like we're doing this thing. And yeah, it really hurt for the first 6 miles. But then I sort of got in the rhythm and my body said, oh, I think this is what we're doing. So I think it actually helped heal me. I've been pretty good, but I'm still in recovery. You can see if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm sort of wiggling around today because, it hurts to sit, it hurts to stand, it hurts to sleep. It just, when your back hurts, it hurts.
It does. And I think when you're in any sort of pain like that, and I'm so sorry that happened, because that is so painful when something gets tweaked, whether it's your ankle, your back, your leg, your side, it just throws everything off and you feel like you want to crumble and you don't want to do anything. And the most important thing is to keep moving. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but also to be inspired. And we want to talk about that because obviously the Olympics is going on and there's some great inspiration that we can all pull out of these incredible athletes. At the same time, there's also some non-Olympic athletes out there that you can catch up on YouTube. And I think you wanted to share maybe a story. We even continue watching Billy Yang, incredible athlete.
Yeah, let's call Billy Yang our Embers Rising shout out for this episode. So every episode we pick someone that is inspirational. And not necessarily a line celebrity, but someone that's just in the ground, in the ditch, doing the work every single day. And Billy Yang, if you don't know who he is a content producer on YouTube that produces content around generally the running community. He's also an ultra runner and has done a lot of the greats, but then he also helps film, support, and crew, some of the people that are out there, has been to every race. But I think the takeaway that I have from watching his content is he really focuses on the community aspect of what the ultra running community is all about, and not just, the athletic performance or going for the heartbreak story, those sorts of things. It's really about how the community comes together and they high five each other, they know each other, they work out together, they're all at the same, venues. And so, yeah, he's been really inspirational for us in a lot of different ways, including fueling this seed of we want to do the Tour de Mont Blanc in 2026. We're taking some people out there that want to go with us. And if you don't know, that is an epic journey around Mont Blanc from Chamonix, France, through Italy into Switzerland.
I think it's a 6-day group tour.
Yeah, so it's not the...
We're not doing the UTMB 100 in one day. It's a 6-day, you're staying at refugees, little hostels along the way, and you're with a group to do this. So unfortunately, a lot of the guide companies sell out a year in advance. So you really have to plan. So now we're looking at 2026, I think.
But the aid stations have pizza and beer.
That's all Dave's looking forward to is the hot coffee and actually the European pastries. So
that's right. Yeah. I want to pull into my aid station and get 8 hours of sleep and eat some lasagna. So I think that's a good way to go.
No, that's really cool. Also, I was just going to mention back at Billy Yang, we watched an episode last night that he reminded us through some challenges that he had. He was doing, I think it was like a 100K race. I don't remember the name of that one, Dave.
The Javelina.
Javelina, thank you. Javelina 100 is in Arizona. And he talked about getting to a point where he was in so much pain that you mentally are just getting over that hump and just moving through it where you're not even thinking about it. And I think that may have happened to you after your strained back episode. And then, well, we'll tell you in our next episode what we went out to go accomplish because that's kind of a 2-part issue. So we can't wait to break that down for you. But yeah.
And sometimes the pain takes you down and there's nothing you can do.
Absolutely.
But generally I heal quicker if I keep moving. So I know if I, ball up into a little baby and lay down on the couch and suck my thumb and watch TV, it's probably going to be 2 weeks for it to heal. But if I continue to work out, being careful and doing things, it sends that signal to your body like, hey, we don't have the time for this. And I usually heal in 6 or 7 days. So yeah, that's my injury, not prevention, but mitigation process.
Yes, and we can talk about that more actually. So let's dive into this meat of this because this episode is about bouncing back and strategies that you can use. Just reminders, tips you all probably already know, but it's things that have helped us move through this space because not only is a setback tough, you are now thinking about recovery, you're thinking about maybe your event, your race, whatever you're having to do, and then having to build resilience to get through it. So,
and I think this applies to finances, it applies to relationships,
everything,
it applies to
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everything. So, but specifically, I wrote in athletic strategies for y'all because that's what we've been going through. And because the Olympics is going on, I did want to bring some shout outs to some incredible athletes. And I just to name a 3, I don't know if you're following Olympics or not, but
when you get injured during the Olympics or before the Olympics, if you've qualified, you have 2 choices. And that is you either drop out or you go out and compete to the best of your ability and overcome the pain during because you probably won't get a shot in 4 years. It's very rare for an athlete to back. I know there's some athletes that, like Michael Phelps have been to multiple. Simone Biles is working through an injury right now and was sort of slated to, take a lot of medals. I don't know where she's at now, but I know she has an ankle injury that is probably for you or me might be, a game ender, right? Like it's a game ender. For sure. And so she's doing whatever's legal. I can't imagine she's doing anything illegal. Although you never know what her coaches are advising her to do, and yeah, sucking it up and going through the pain.
I think Simone Biles, her performance is always incredible. Her as a person is always incredible, I believe, because of the resilience and the mental fortitude and strength that she has. I mean, competing at the highest level, despite the challenges that she continues to have in her career, is incredible inspiration for us all. You know, she is very determined. She is very focused, and I love watching Simone. I also want to do a shout out to Tom Pidcock, mountain biking gold, overcame a puncture during the race to win gold. Overcame a puncture on his mountain bike. That's just incredible to me during a cross-country event. That also demonstrated remarkable resilience and the skill, obviously, to recover, to hold on to a victory, to go all in, no matter how painful it was. Man, that's tough. That's really tough. And then I also put together, everybody loves watching the swimming. Hopefully you do. I love watching Adam PT, silver in swimming. After battling injuries and setbacks on his personal journey, he secured that silver medal in the swimming pool, showcasing his determination and skill. So I put those together too. And that just goes to show you that it's not just the Olympics, though, but us too, out there listening to this, wherever you're at in your athletic journey or business or life. Setbacks happen, and sometimes they're really tough. We've shared a lot with you in our previous episodes about some major setbacks we had last year and having to put a lot of things on hold and re-strategizing our whole business and lifestyle. That was a lot to rethink through and then, start over in a sense.
So when the setback hits, I think it's important not to be surprised, right? I think you'll be shocked. Sometimes things are really tough, but not surprised. And having that mindset allows you to say, okay, here's where we're at. Yeah. And, this is a shocker, but it doesn't come as a surprise because I knew failure or whatever it is bound to happen, right? It's inevitable. And so you have a plan and that mindset to move forward and continue on your journey to hit your goal, to win your medal, to run your race, whatever it is going to happen.
I was just listening to the post-race interview with Courtney DeWalt. I think is her last name, DeWalter. Last name, she just finished the Hard Rock 100
She
weeks ago.
Just won the Hard Rock 100.
She just won. Yeah, she got first place. She finished the Hard Rock 100. She got first place. I was listening to her post-race interview, and the things that you don't see behind the scenes. You see her win. You see her kiss the Hard Rock there in Silverton at the end, but you don't see the battles that she went through physically and mentally to get to the end. It was an incredible journey. So yeah, huge shout out to Courtney. She's an incredible athlete, and I continue to strive. I would love to do the Hard Rock 100. Dave's looking at me going, oh my gosh, are you serious? How would you ever get in, to the lottery for that race? I have no idea.
I don't know. I draw the line at crapping my pants. So that's like, okay, that was not only a surprise and a shock, but I'm done. So, but we'll see if and when that ever occurs. I suppose we'll get to see what my mindset is. How close am I to the finish line, right? I'm like, I can run another 20 miles with a little, with some dirty shorts. Ugh. But it happened.
Well, with my recent setback of this quadricep tendonitis, I was really disappointed because our long runs have been so incredible, Dave. I mean, we've been going out there in, first light, in the dark, with headlamps, going up in the foothills. It's been incredible for, 4-hour runs, 3-4-hour runs. And then having this happen, I realized that I just need a time out and I need to re-strategize. So I'm going to talk about that first. I wrote on my notes here today to re-strategize training. And that was the first thing I had to look at. Okay, stop. I need to adapt the training plans that I'm working through and focus on some little lower impact activities that don't strain my knees as much. Don't strain that area. And then include some strength training, which I have been, but it hasn't been enough. And I have been working through an imbalance. One of my knees, the left side, I already have an imbalance on, and I've known that, so I've been working on that side. So now it's time to re-strategize. So I've been doing that the last couple of weeks. I also set some different goals for myself. I really thought about breaking down my recovery into smaller milestones, just sitting and icing, heading to the cold river, getting my legs on ice, and then I think also celebrating the progress out there. Dave and I, you and I went out for a run, and I didn't run. I went with you. You did a run, and I was like power hiking up there. So no matter how small the win is, at least I celebrated that I was out there. Couldn't maybe run, but I could, power hike.
Well, your power hiking is pretty aggressive. So it took me a while to shake you to actually look over my shoulder and not see you anymore. I'm like, yeah,
I'm
all right.
trying not to run, And then also it was great that this trip came at the perfect time, right in the middle of our 50K training, because we both needed to take some time off. We've been hitting it really hard with the training, really pushing ourselves and allowing our body to heal and recover. Just sitting in a car ride was really good. Using that time to just reassess, where we're at with our training and doing other cross-training activities. So, and speaking of cross training, what do we do for cross training? When we were out of town, we got to jump on the water a little bit more for stand up paddleboarding. We did a little bit more power hike.
No, wait a minute. I know we're going to do an episode on this, but paddleboarding. So
okay,
one day our paddleboarding included putting the paddleboards in packs on our backs and hiking down 2 miles.
Okay, listen, you're going to give it away.
Down a very steep hillside. And then, which wasn't too bad until, you bring the wet paddleboard back up. So it's
cross-training.
It's cross-training.
I'm just saying it was an activity. I was just letting you know what we do for cross-training. We do.
A lot of people think of relaxing as like sitting on a deck, sipping a libation.
That's not our cross-training, I can tell you.
And yeah, eating a hamburger and looking out at the view, which I encourage quite a bit. I don't get it as much as I would like.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yes, the activities for cross-training, we did though. We love stand-up paddleboarding, rollerblading, hiking, mountain biking, road cycling, any of that, swimming. It's all been really good for cross training. So it's a little harder. The other thing that I did right away when I had the issue, the pain in my knee, was I went over to my sport doc and got into PT. And I work very closely with some apps for training. And I have been looking at some mobility, strength training, core exercises for my knees to rebuild. But it's always good to go to PT and rehab to work closely with a professional to develop a personalized rehab plan for yourself. Also, to have scheduled sessions to make sure you're showing up and doing them, which you probably already are. But here's a big one. Having them check you that you're using proper form technique. That is so important. And there's so many times where I wish I had them in my, virtual, and I know that there's now virtual PT, but it's so nice to have the personal touch when you physically can go into work with someone and have someone correct your form to avoid, further injury. And then, just increase your intensity with whatever they recommend.
And, I'm the same, but the opposite sometimes, right? So hurt my back. We did that run. And then instead of rehab, I did a little what I call dehab. And that was, a couple drinks, one of those CBD gummies.
Is that like downtime?
Yeah, and I'm dehabbing,
I'm
right?
like still stuck on that. You're rattling on about what you're doing. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
So I just try and detach my entire mind.
Detach rehab.
Yeah, it's dehab. I'm dehabbing myself. And I deserve it. I ran 15 miles with a hurt back. And so your dad brought some bourbon, and I thought that's probably, I need to apply it. Not
it
topically.
Was still there.
I thought topically, but I was like, no, the wise thing to do here is take it internally. So
there we go. Okay. There's Dave's techniques, everyone. So, hey, friends, if you are listening to that, you might need a dehab, a dehab rehab.
Hey,
so
I don't have to pay a doctor.
See, this is where, Dave's got a whole different thing going on. Okay, I want to move through this at the same time. We talked about PT. Dave, let's jump in and talk about maintaining your mental resilience How do you do it mentally? What do you use to get through tough times? And then I'll talk about my strategies.
For me,
Other than your DHAB that you just shared with us. Okay, so we all know that.
Right. If I blow
Like,
this answer,
hey.
I'm just going to stand up and I'm going to go start dehabbing at 10 in the morning. No, that's not going to happen. But I think the mindset you need is, number one, your must, right? And that is, what is your reason? What is your why for what it is you're doing? And, for me, fitness isn't a sport. It's like hygiene, right? And why do you brush your teeth every day? It's so they don't decay. Why do you work out every day? It's so your body doesn't decay and your mind doesn't decay. And so if you know your why, if you know your must, why you're doing things, then the inevitable, setback that you get is just temporary, right? It's like it comes with the territory. It's going to be okay. And I think that's the number one thing that you really need to have is the mindset piece. And that's where so many people fail, right? They're like, I'm doing this to lose weight. Wrong reason. I'm doing this because of, an event, and then I'll stop doing it, right? That's the wrong reason.
I think what I hear the most of is people say, I'm working on, friends say, I'm working on this goal. I want to try to, do this thing, let's say running, but now I have quadricep tendonitis, and they stop. They completely stop, say, you know what, I'm hurting. I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to give up. And that is not what you want to do. You can move through this. Last year, I tore my hamstring, the belly of the hamstring. I could have totally given up. And actually, it wasn't last year. It was like a couple of years. And I finally got it taken care of last year. And it's not 100%. It's better. It's like 80% better, but it's still painful. But I didn't give up. That's the most important thing. So I think it's important for you to stay mentally engaged. That's the most important. And when you're saying like having a must to stay mentally engaged, I like to say, find things that inspire you to help you move through the mental pain of whatever. Maybe it's a podcast, maybe it's an audiobook, maybe it's a YouTube, maybe it's someone that you are inspired by watching, listening to, maybe it's a book. Also, staying connected with David just talked about community, support networks, communities that can help you move through pains like that. Even if it's your local running store sales rep, tell them, hey, I've got an injury, and feel some support if you don't have it from friends and family, or you don't have it in your community or whatever you're working through. That's important to just share it, or even in your Facebook groups or whatever community is part of. The other thing, to maintain mental resilience that we've also done, and Dave and I have done both of those things. We have dove into other tribes. It's why we're currently with the Business Mastery Group over at Mind Valley and with Vishen Lakiani. And we continue always every year. We're part of some super high level masterminds for us to continue supporting ourselves with our business goals and challenges and things that we're working through. But also, I think positive visualization is something that we all forget during your recovery and setback during that time. It's always important, and I think that every Olympic athlete has it built into their training to visualize their performance out there. You also need to visualize yourself healing from the recovery. For me, thinking through to have strong legs and not have the pains out there while I'm doing the event or while I'm doing the training. Because at the end of the day, I was telling you, Dave, it's not really about the event or the race that we're going to go do together. It's more about every day that we come back and we had a great experience that day and we didn't have an injury. To me, that's first place. And I love that. We did it together. We went out there and we accomplished something without a setback. Or maybe we did have a setback, but we came back safe.
Which does happen. I don't want the listeners to think we've got an ambulance parked outside our house at all times.
Well, we do live next to a surgeon, but hell, it's okay.
Yeah, that's different. He's got good bottles of wine. So, for me, a lot of it comes down to the knowledge of neuroscience, right? And we know as you get older, right? You just had your 50th birthday. And I'm going to be...
I like how Dave continues to share that with everyone.
62. I'm going to say 62. But, there's a saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's true because from a neurological standpoint, We know that neurons that fire together wire together. And you'll notice in life, most people are pretty hardwired by the time they get to their 40s, and they don't continue to grow. And that's why we take on, personally, I take on like a new challenge every single year. We're talking about running a lot, but this is my first year running, right? I literally started distance running in January of this year. So I'm only 6 months out, and before we went to Tahoe, I think we had 6 back-to-back long run weeks where I ran over a half a marathon. That was my long run for the week on trails. And I've gone from not being able to run, 100 yards without being tired and out of breath to being able to do that, right? And so that is part of my growth. And you have to force it as you get older. If you want to be mobile, if you're into anti-aging, if you want to be, healthy, that healthy hygiene, like you need to do hard things, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, right? In all of those spaces, you need to push yourself. But if you don't, I guarantee you'll be where you're at next year, right? Right where you're at now, and nothing will have really significantly changed in your life. So I think for me, knowing the physiology, the biology, that neuroscience, that if you don't do hard things, you will not grow, forces me to say, all right, what's up next, right? Like you mentioned rollerblading. I didn't rollerblade before I met you.
Or I guess it's called inline skating.
It's
I'm sorry, rollerblading is very dated.
I'm 62, so
it's like you rollerblade? It's like, okay.
But yeah, so I think it was on my 58th birthday. There was a big box, and I'm like, oh, what could it be? And I open it up, and it's a pair of inline skates there. And I was like, oh, this is going to hurt. And it did, but not in the way you might think, right?
Hey, at least I got you a cool helmet. So.
Yeah, it's a cool helmet. Elbow guards, wrist guards, knee guards, tooth guards, whatever kind of guard there is. We sort of just bubble wrapped me, right? We bubble wrapped me and
look like a hockey player.
Pushed me out on the street. But I'm a pretty damn good inline rollerblader, skater guy. 3 years later, I can strap those things on, and I watch a lot of the speed skating stuff. So I sort of fancy myself like, oh yeah, I look like that guy. And then Wendy videos me. I'm like, okay, I do not look like that guy, but I feel like him. And so that's cool. So it's just another thing in my tool belt for fitness and growth that's there.
And that's a perfect segue, because you just talked about what you feel and how you think and what you're watching. You're watching someone do speed skating, and you just said you feel like that guy, even though my video shares differently. But practicing visualization, what we're just talking about, and having a mindfulness or meditation practice to manage your stress and anxiety is super important. It's so hard to take time off to go do that, if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, but it's so worth it. It really sets your whole day up if you do it in the morning sometime before your whole world gets ahead of you, to just balance your day and emotions. But it does help with the mental resilience. That's where I'm going with that.
Right, and as long as you never see yourself on video, you're
good. You're good. You're still that speed skater, Dave. You're out there.
It's so funny. So I'm going to sidetrack here, but we work with Gunnison Crested Butte for their marketing, and they just produced all of this incredible video footage of mountain bikers. And it's a great story. Go on their channel and YouTube, Gunnison Crested Butte, and take a look at it. But we're on this call with everybody, and after watching a piece of it where these guys are just flying off of these ramps, right? And just powering down, sort of free riding. It's about free riding where you just don't even have a trail. You just go. And I said, that's the way I feel when I ride. And everybody started laughing. And one of the girls on the call said, that's the way I feel too. It's just my wheels never leave the ground. Me too, right? And it's just...
It's in my mind.
It's in my mind. So I don't know where I was going with that. And that's why I've stopped talking.
I thought you were going to share the behind the scenes because didn't you talk to the video production team about the behind the scenes of what those shots look like? That's another commercial I'm thinking of, Dave, that you helped with. It was a Toyota commercial or something about some Toyota springs. Am I giving this away?
I don't.
About the springs kind of broke when they were jumping the truck or something.
No, actually, that was your story. And yeah, it was someone that was creating a specialty suspension kit for Toyota, TRD. And they went out and filmed it just bombing through this stuff. But one of the segments was where one of the springs blew up, literally came up through the fender well, ripped the fender well and part of the hood off.
Maybe don't buy those springs.
Left. Well, no, I mean, they're testing them, right? Like it's going to happen. You find a breaking point in everything. But they said that's the stuff that gets cut out. But I think it's a really good story because we, as humans, need to find our breaking point and maybe not blow out a fender well or your back or your knee, but expect that in the process of pushing your limits, it's knowable, right? Like those things are going to happen, be prepared for it. And hopefully it's not a career ender injury, right? Like don't do anything stupid.
And I was going to say that just is so much about recovery, and re-strategizing the mental performance, right? And I think the important thing, Dave, you mentioned keep moving and training. Consistency is key. So stick to a regular modified workout during your recovery to maintain the fitness levels. Even when we were at Tahoe, I wanted to run every day, like mass mileage, and we'll share that story in our next episode because we had some opportunities to do some really cool things. But I'm not even going to give it away right now, but keep track of your progress also to stay motivated. I really love the app Training Peaks, which is my workout calendar. It has all of my workouts in there that I do. It connects to your Garmin, your fitness watches. A lot of those are integrated in there. So most important, track your progress. Consistency is super key. You've got to have that. And then the other thing that I've been focusing on during this rehab time has been nutrition and hydration, making sure that I'm getting my proteins in, my vitamins, my minerals to support my healing, as well as staying hydrated to help my muscles recover and my overall health. The one thing I love to do in the summer, and right now it's summer for us, is I love iced tea and lemonade. I love iced tea and lemonade. So I have to make sure that I toggle that back and keep on hydrating with just my water. And what I put in my water is I'll use some magnesium drops and I love trace minerals. So I'll put some trace mineral drops in there too to keep me on top of my minerals as well. So
yeah, I like to drop a little something in my lemonade, but it's part of the dehab. So
the other thing for on being on top of this recovery is sleep, rest and sleep. So, like I said, I've been icing my knees, going to the river, getting my legs. You could even do cold chamber therapy, ice slurry baths, any of that. But then at the same time, that's for my knee inflammation. That's bringing down the inflammation. But at the same time, rest, prioritizing your sleep for optimal recovery, getting in what you need. Avoid overtraining. That's the biggest thing. Give your body time to heal. I'm always worried about that I'm not training enough and I'm not going to get enough volume done to be able to complete the distance that I want. So I'm always worried about not training enough. But I understand that it's important to not overtrain because then you have muscle breakdown like I'm having, I need some time to rest. My body should say, hey, I need a pullback here. And at the same time, were you going to say something to that?
No, keep going.
At the same time, as hard as it is, it's important to stay positive and a patient because I have such a hard time being patient with my training, but accept that you're in the recovery process and avoid rushing back into, big long runs, which we didn't do very well last week, Dave. I can't wait to share that story. Anyway, and focus on what you can do rather than what you cannot do. And so when Dave said he pushed himself through, Dave and I have a routine every day since we've met. I don't think, unless we're traveling or up at 5 a.m. or dead tired, we have gotten up together and we stretch. we stretch. We do mobility workout. We do band therapies. We do core workout. Not just like, hey, we're in the gym lifting weights every day. We do yoga together. We've always done that. It's I don't know. We should put that on a video. But we have always done that together. So
it is. It's a daily ritual. In the morning, we're morning people. But stretching is something we do every single day. And
even when we are out of town, we have our yoga mats. We bring our bands, band therapies, and
and then something athletic 6 days a week. Sometimes we manage to pull back and not do 7 days a week, but it varies, right? Like especially this time of year, our road bikes will come out, our mountain bikes will come out, our running shoes, either trail or road, will come out. We go swimming, like
inline skates, like everything is out in the summer. Everything is out. And the winter, we really end up swimming a lot. We're usually at the pool because it's colder outside.
And at the gym, and then we got the treadmill and the bike trainer in the house, right? Which is nice. That was one of the positives that came out of COVID. We built a home gym, and we'll never look back, right? I'll never look back at the membership gym. Yeah. But I think, one of the things that we always hear, and your mom doesn't listen to this, do we?
Nobody in my family listens to this. That's great. Yeah.
That's great. So, people like mom, she's like, you just need to know your boundaries, right? And they're thinking in terms of don't hurt yourself, right? And my response is I'm trying to find my boundaries, right? Because like that Toyota that shot a spring through the quarter panel, that in that instance, that Toyota found its boundaries. And it's up to each one of us to find our boundaries. We just don't know what they are. You can't assume that you've done your max until you find what your max is. And so the whole boundaries conversation is confusing for people.
I was just going to say, on that note, I was just totally reminded, you just gave me all the reminders of all of the bike crashes. If you didn't know, I raced mountain bikes for 10 years, and I had some pretty major crashes. And one of the races I went to, I don't even know. I don't even think they have this anymore. It was Norba Nationals I had a Norba Nationals card. I was on the whole circuit. Anyway, I did one of my last mountain bike races, and I say the last because I had a serious brain injury. It was the first mountain bike race that I did not pre-ride any of the segments. I literally showed up there. Talk about ego. I was on the starting line with 200 people. I'm still got first place, but I had a TBI at the very beginning. I went over a double jump, another guy's bike, hit my bike. We clashed in the air. He went one direction, I went another. I knew that there were hundreds of people behind me, and I quickly had to scramble to get back on. But I'm so surprised I didn't break my clavicle, broke my helmet. I was covered in dust and had major head injury. I had landed on my head from the double jump. It was horrible. I remember first aid was trying to motion me over, but I didn't even go over to first aid because I was like, hey, I'm going to finish this race. I drove all this way. I'm finishing this race.
Oh, okay. It's possible you have some boundary issues that need to be discussed.
So, talk about boundaries. I was like, okay, I need to pull back on my racing. That was a little much. Also, it really wasn't even the race. I wasn't smart enough to actually go up and pre-ride. There was a little bit too much ego back then, thinking, I had won every race that I'd ever entered, and I was going to win this one. So why need a pre-ride? Yeah, that didn't suit me well. Yikes. But no, all is good. But yeah, Dave's right. You do need to know your boundaries.
You need, and my point was you need to find your boundaries.
Find your boundaries. Thank you.
And then push on them heavily. Now, if you have a horrible crash during a mountain bike race, that may be your boundary. But for people like Wendy J., I know you. You're an incredible warrior. And if there isn't a bone poking out of the skin or something else, you'd be like, yeah, I'm finishing the race. So
Dave's also seen me on a couple of road bike crashes that were pretty serious. And it was amazing that, pretty close to
Each one of those were a boundary.
each one of those a boundary, but
it was a day ender.
It was a day
or
ender.
A week or a month ender.
No doubt that you have to agree. I was back on band training and movement right away. I mean, even though I was in pain and it was physical, skin missing, I was still moving through finding movement, when I needed to. I still found time to rest, obviously. But anyway, I think that kind of wraps us up. I just wanted everyone to have these tips, reminders for when you have setbacks and you need to re-strategize your training, what you need to be thinking about as a reminder. And just, we feel you. We totally are cheering you on if you are in a setback right now, how awful it may be feeling. I know that there was one of the professional athletes. I don't know her last name. I'm so sorry. Maggie. Can't remember her last name. And I know Sally McRae was going to pace her at Hard Rock 100. And just a few days before that race, she had a setback. And how disappointing that can be when you're training for something like an event of any sort and have a setback. It's just mentally, it takes a toll on having now to go through physically what you have to move through. So if you are in that space or you know someone, hey, Dave and I are cheering you on right now. We love you and we totally want to help push you forward. You will get through this. We want to guide you. Make sure you get the proper rest, get the proper hydration, the nutrition, take time off, rest, get some help, whatever you need to get through that space professionally, and then make sure you keep moving. Not so sure on the D rehab, Dave, but if you need to go there, okay.
I'm a rebel, so sometimes you need to dehab, and if you need it, you need it. So just don't rely on it, I think is the takeaway.
So we do want to wrap this up and give some final thoughts. First of all, we are so new on the podcast platforms out here. I believe this is episode 22, and we would love it if you could rate us on Spotify, if you could leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We need actually reviews on Apple Podcasts, so we know you guys are out there and listening to us. And also, we can't even manage our reviews if we don't have enough reviews. So we actually need reviews, and we'd love it if you could follow us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also please watch for updates on. If you don't know, my website is wendyjae.com, just wendyjae.com. I'll have updates there about our programs and things that we're doing as we continue growing.
Also, if you're a tech person and you're in the world of video and podcast and you're seeing something or hearing something that we could improve on, give us a shout out, because this is a self-built studio here.
We are working through this.
And also the reverse of that, right? If you are trying to build something, I'm happy to share how we got to where we're at, which is infinitely better than when we were just sitting around holding mics on bar stools.
Oh gosh. Yes, if you are seeing this.
Talking into a box, right?
If you are seeing this on YouTube and you see something we could improve on, please shout it out, because we are doing this with you. We have a very small room and we are trying to dial in our cameras, our lighting, our mics. So if you see something that could help us, please drop us a comment. We would love that. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, it is sounding better than what we've had in the past. I don't know. But final thoughts, we want to just say thank you for showing up. Thank you so much for pressing play and being here with us. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Embers Rising. I guess remember that every setback is an opportunity to reignite the fire within. That's the most important. And no matter the challenges you face, keep fueling the flame. That's the most important. That's what's inside of you. And really let your resilience come through. Let every ember inside of you rise for your strength and potential. Just what we've heard today, talking together. The journey to recover is just not about bouncing back. It's about rising stronger more than ever. And everyone has to go through it at some point. So keep pushing forward, stay connected to your purpose, and never forget that your fire can light the way for others as well. So keep going, stay strong, and continue to fuel your flame. So until next time, stay inspired and keep those embers rising.
Aloha.
Aloha.